Hello and welcome to the collective reading for the Scorpio new moon that's happening on the 1st of November 2024. I am recording this on a Tuesday, which is Mars's day. The moon is in Cancer and it's essentially trining the degree that the Scorpio full moon will be on, and the ascendant at the time of recording is coming very close to being conjunct Pluto, and Mars, the ruler of this moon, is going to be opposite Pluto at the time. So what's the energy that we've got at the time of recording this is going to be very in alignment. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body. This brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that come through, and it will be happening throughout. I'm going to be breaking down the astrology for this new moon of how the celestial bodies are talking to each other at the exact moment of the moon, and this forms a language, a harmonic blueprint that has an intention behind it. And in this reading I'm going to be pulling some collective tarot cards while talking about the astrology to really channel in what is the most integrated and expansive intention of this moon. And the more that we understand that, like the root energy, what's the most root energy that's serving our evolutionary growth, serving our higher selves and our expansion, the more we can then apply that to all the situations that may show up, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly. The order and the chaos, right? The light and the dark, all of it. So the more we have that sort of like root energy under awareness, the more we can apply that perspective when we may be feeling confused, when there's a difficult situation showing up, and we go, okay, well, this is the root intention of what this moon is planning to help us work through and elevate over the next 6 months. So this will take us up to the Scorpio full moon in Taurus season next year. Now let's get into it. Firstly, I want to say this is happening on a Friday for everybody, and Friday is Venus's day. So the qualities of Venus. Oh, Ace of Pentacles, first one out. Love this fresh new energy, right, of how we create in the 3D world. It has the flowers of the magician, and we have a mountain through this portal, which represents the bringing in the higher perspective in the way that we create in the 3D world. It's not about leaving it. Now, one of the phrases that I always use for Venus is she wants us to feel good in the 3D world. She's all about creation, connection, joy, love. So we've got that Ace of Pentacles showing up first of all to really let us know that the root intention of this moon is, it's like a kind of reboot in the way that we process our fixed emotions in the 3D world, and giving us a fresher energy to then work with, rather than, fixed energy can be quite stuck. I say that as my chart is mostly fixed. So it's Venus's day. So wherever Venus is and what she's doing is going to be influencing this moon, even though Scorpio is traditionally ruled by Mars, and therefore Mars is the ruler of this moon. And she will be in Sagittarius, and she will be conjunct this asteroid called Pallas Athena. And Pallas Athena is all about embodied strategy, long-term thinking, embodied wisdom, right? Very sort of objective, clear thinking. And I like this for a Scorpio moon, especially with Venus in Sagittarius, which follows Scorpio. So we've got this influence of the next sign along, influencing what's going on with Scorpio. And obviously Scorpio, very intense energy, fixed water, earth, yin energy. So those fixed emotions within us, and there's a real sense of a kind of a rigidity, but also those core, deep-rooted emotions within us. And Scorpio goes into the darkness. It's really comfortable being in those spaces in order to find the truth, right? Big secrets often get revealed in Scorpio season. I love Scorpio energy. It's my nearest and dearest friend, who I've known nearly my whole life, is a Scorpio sun. My mother's a Scorpio rising. My nan was a Scorpio. Been surrounded by Scorpio energy my entire life, and I just love the ability to get to the point. It's very blunt, right? It can be a bit cutting. My nan used to read me for filth while I was making her a cup of tea. Absolutely loved that woman, but there's an intensity, there can be a harshness to it, because it's just like over the bullshit. And as a Virgo sun, I often find that Scorpio energy is able to say the sort of the more darker things out loud that the Virgo is more facilitating, right? And I'm going to be using this deck in the All 12 Signs video series. Also, a couple are out on deck with these oracle cards. I always pull these before doing a reading, doing a transit. I will read these after I've done the All 12 Signs series, often either on the moon itself or afterwards, just to really bring in that energy. And there's quite a powerful message, not surprising, with Scorpio, but I got given an early Christmas present and this is honestly, I think it's going to be one of my favorite decks ever, and it's just got the skull, and here we are, like very Scorpion, sometimes these cards, I've used it a couple of times now, are quite blunt, and so very, very appropriate. Speaking of skulls, we've got a crystal skull here, but the day before is All Hallows Eve, is Samhain, right? So this is a time when the veil is very thin, right? When we're able to release, especially as it's just, ooh, okay, this is a carnelian wolf. It's been sitting here with the Aries full moon, which is obviously also ruled by Mars. And so there's an element of, this is the instinct within ourselves. This is wolves are pack animals. The whole alpha ideology was done when they put wolves from different packs all together, right? It's not, and then they apply that to human beings. It's not the natural format. And I think they've done a lot of research about with either apes or chimps, where it's actually the beta who's doing all the work and like actually in control. So there's this element around distortions around power, right? We've got one card that came up in the Aries full moon, Crown Games, right use of power, and this is all to do with the Mars-Pluto opposition, and Mars was opposite Pluto for that Aries full moon. It's going to be exact by degree for this new moon, of recalibrating our understanding of power and domination, right? Mars in a water sign, Scorpio energy, yin energy, is more being on the defensive. One of the things with Scorpio is heightened levels of paranoia, of catastrophizing, because when we spend too long in the dark, sometimes we forget that we're looking for the light there. That reminds me to loop back round to what I was saying about Venus. Sagittarius is where that Scorpio energy has done the hard work, very shamanic Scorpio, of being able to go into the underworld, right? And come back with deep healing. And that's that flip side with the Sagittarius energy, is bringing the light to the table of what Scorpio's revealed. And so Venus is influencing that and making sure that we've got this beautiful harmony between the shadow and the light. And that message came up very, very loudly in the oracle reading in the Aries full moon. So you might want to go check that out as well to sort of see what this is now building on. And I always work with 6-month cycles, so that Aries transit is live for 6 months. But that element of sort of so that yin energy of Mars is often on the defensive, right? Is often preparing to be attacked, not necessarily be attacked itself. And so this is where we can go into like deep paranoia. One of my cats is calling. She wants me to play with her. It's all she ever wants me to do. Quite good at it. Afterwards, my love. We just started letting her outside. We've adopted 2 rescue cats. It's all been a bit like, whoa, but perfect timing with the moon in Cancer. Anyway, what was I saying? So this element of being very protective, right? So rather than being on the defensive, we can look at the wolf and the pack animal and how they often one of the stronger wolves will be at the back to make sure that the whole group are coming with and that we're not going too far. So this is real warm, beautiful, loving, protective energy coming in with this moon. And also because this is carnelian, you know, they link into fire, and one of the things that Aries full moon is helping us navigate over the next 6 months is re-understanding how we operate with conflict, right? How we operate with you know, needing to sort of like puff ourselves up and be on the attack rather than on with working through flow rather than conflict. Like, when can you de-escalate? When can you temper things with peace? That was the sun in Libra. So Venus and Pallas Athena, so that long-term thinking in the way that we express love and we connect and we connect to our desire, right? That sense of her bringing in a clarity that's releasing a lot of wounds. There we go, Halloween. I know I'm all over the place. Of a lot of trauma linked into the ancestors, both blood and soul lineage. In the night before this new moon, with that Venusian energy coming in with the new moon, of helping heal a lot of heart wounds. In order to, with that Venus Pallas Athena influence the next day, really bring in a lot of a new way of adventuring, right? That Sagittarius energy, it wants to travel, wants to roam, wants to explore. So it's allowing us the freedom of mutability, the freedom of being able to adapt and change. We've got all of that influencing, like some heavy energy in the Scorpio contingent, especially around the ancestors, as I said, like doing a lot of wound healing with that, as well as connecting deeply with the wisdom and the magic of our ancestors. And all of that's coming back to the Ace of Pentacles, of just a renewal of our energy, of how we create in the 3D world, right? How we understand the world around us, right? Again, those big wounds that we can get with Scorpio, just because it's fixed and it can be very stubborn, right? That's being, we're helping relieve that. The Scorpio full moon in Taurus season, that was all about that full moon coming to completion with some real stagnant energy in our emotional body. And regulars, you know, I've been talking about this. We've had a lot of grand water trines over the last couple of months, which doesn't happen very often, where all water signs are being activated, and it's been very, very consistent. And so this is a real purge of a lot of wounds in our water body, and in the memory that our water stores, that distorts our intuition, distorts our emotional body. So there's a real calming energy coming in around, moving away from that paranoia to the very protective, very loyal, very passionate Scorpionic energy. Scorpio rules the sexual organs. Now it's not just linked into that, it's linked into your creation energy. So I love that Ace of Pentacles, of this renewal of our creation in the 3D beyond the wounds of the past. Now, the sun and the moon, they are in Scorpio. They're at 9 degrees 35 minutes. I'll put all of that in the description box, as well as all the decks that I use. And so the moon and the sun aren't actually making very many aspects. Mercury is there with them in the sign of Scorpio, but quite far away, but they're still in the same sign. They're still in the same landscape, so they're influencing one another. And so we have a fresh new beginning, a new beginning beyond what we've already been learning with Mercury, with how we process information, how we perceive what's going on. And I do feel with the combination of all the other astrology, it is helping a deep-rooted level of paranoia, right? A fear state, a survival mechanism of being in the cold, being in the dark, not being able to see. Oh, that was a nice clearing. I'm feeling it around the area, like my ovaries. That sense of fertility that Ace of Pentacles is bringing through. Now, this is building on the theme that's been unfolding over the summer. And this is through difficulties, right? The amount of people that I've spoken to have had quite grief-stricken in various different ways, summers, right? And have really come out the other side incredibly empowered. And we've got a real sense of flow of, we've elevated our timeline, right? We've moved timelines, and now we're readjusting to the tools that we have in this new timeline. And one of them is moving away from that fear state, right? That I've got to be on the defensive, got to be very protective, everyone's out to get me kind of energy. And that sort of sitting cold in the dark, right? Now we are, after that Aries full moon, there's a real sense of balance the Libra energy between the shadow and the light, and our capacity to understand these are all tools and we can work with all of them, and we're not so scared anymore. A lot of the oracle readings recently have been pretty hardcore in the messages that have come through of like, we're all stepping up to the plate now. And the main thing about all of this shift is that and this is very much tied in with Pluto, and I cannot recommend enough the Pluto in Capricorn series, especially the oracle reading, because what I talk about there in terms of the astrology is a huge setup, right? Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, all in yin signs, earth and water. They are making harmonious aspects to each other. They are the outer planets. They're in yin, so it's when we're cultivating, we're bringing depth, we're bringing nuance, we're observing the shifts and changes of some really core archetypal awarenesses of how we work with our reality. They are all going to move into yang signs. This is wild astrology, guys. I cannot stress it enough. And this is about pulling down the veil around the illusion that we do not live in a magical reality, that we do not live in a reality where truly there is abundance for all. Truly, the universe can provide the wishes and dreams and hopes and miracles for absolutely every single one of us. And we're seeing more awareness. I've got the 6 of Wands in reverse, and I feel like that's in reference to the pulling back of the veil, right, of not being able to recognize victory, to recognize the abundance, the celebration of our journey, right, of where we're at, and through the actions that we take. That with them, this figure is about to go and have a massive party. He didn't have to do the party, right? He just went and did the thing, went and did the sort of the dark night of the soul, the shaman's journey, and has come back and celebrated. And so this showing up in reverse is really screaming at me of, this is what I'm talking about, of the release away from this. Right, we're moving past this. So it's going kind of at the beginning where there's a lot of heavy stuff that we're shifting and clearing. And so have this Scorpio moon following in alignment with this sort of the capacity to build from a very firm, emotional, intuitive water body, right? The power of water creates life along with light. We are elevating a new level of our capacity to build from that space, right? And really have a lot of strength within us. As there are bound to be more challenges as we recalibrate to the new timeline, to the new frequency, and the realities of the new tools that we have that were always there, but we've been limited by them because we're in that kind of fear mindset, right? The more dense conspiracy theory energy. Now, I believe a lot of conspiracy theories are turning out to be true, right? It's all how you look at it, but I'm always open to either side, right? I'd really try and don't limit myself, but why did we think we could trust them? When have they ever proven to us that we can trust them? Now, I'm sure a lot of you out there can apply. I can apply that to numerous things. We've got the Ace of Swords. So we've got 2 aces coming through. A clarity of vision of our perspective, right? With this healing in the water body, a new perspective coming in. Divine inspiration around our sovereignty. So, as I said, the sun and the moon have Mercury there. So again, our capacity to perceive our reality, see the darkness, the intensity, the shadow work, the underworld as a tool, as a blessing, as a service to us, our evolutionary growth, as well as to be able to see the truth more and be more committed and loyal to our emotional unfolding, to our stability in our emotional body. King of Cups is obviously a Scorpio card, right? Sitting in the eye of the storm and still taking action, still being sovereign. Despite what may be going on around you, there's a real confidence, there's a power coming in that is going to serve us, right? Where we're not getting shaken off our perch. We're not falling off the throne into the ocean. We are strong in our energy. Speaking of strong in our energy, the only aspect the sun and the moon are making, other than their conjunction with each other, is a trine with Saturn, who is still retrograde over in the sign of Pisces. And Saturn, for me, in this retrograde energy, is a recalibration of our authority, internal authority, of strong foundations, of our integrity, of our level of understanding cause and effect, understanding the cycles of time. We're breaking into a new timeline. It's about commitment and your legacy, Saturn. Oh, I'm loving this 2 of Pentacles in reverse showing up as I'm saying this, right? So Saturn is helping us really ingrain in our foundational space the magic of Pisces, right? The non-rational, the non-linear, rabbits out of hats, synchronistic, fluky, compassionate, open, curious energy of Pisces, right? And so we've got the Two of Pentacles showing up in reverse. Now, the Two of Pentacles for me is very much the predominant energy I often get, and that's what I'm getting here, is the hamster on the wheel, right? The juggling, the balancing act, right? Of survival, of keep going, keep going, keep going. You need to get that money in order to feed yourself, to put a roof over your head. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it means we can't think beyond that sort of gotta go, gotta do, stay on the wall, stay on the wheel. Oh, I said stay on the wall. Like protected, right? Behind the wall of the defenses of Scorpio, right? So this is in reverse, is a release away from that, while I was talking about Saturn with the sun and the moon, right? Of, I know it's pentacles, but we've got the sea in the background of our water body, that fear, that worry, that survival, we just shifting into the next stage where we're no longer predominantly viewing our lives as survival. So recently I've been talking about how a lot of situations have been going on in my life, lots of moments, little moments and big moments that I've thought have gone wrong, right? That I've had an accident, there's been a mistake or whatever, or that hasn't quite turned out how I thought it would. Every single one of them were precognitive situations or actions that were facilitating an event in the future that I was not consciously aware of. Now, this is the Scorpio side of it. Scorpio is the only water sign I've got major planets. I've got Saturn in Scorpio squaring my ascendant, my Mercury, my Mars, my moon. That rather than looking at the shadow, the darkness, the mistakes, the decay, the difficulties as, oh no, I'm no longer in the light, I'm no longer in flow, I'm no longer at high vibe, I'm no longer like that sort of that shame, that self-flagellation energy, that can block our creation energy as well. So we've got that with what I was talking about earlier, is the realization, no, all of that is part of the process, right? And I feel like a fixed energy is going to come in our water body that allows us to be really comfortable with the process. And so that's what I'm seeing with this Two of Pentacles in reverse. Is to not be in that high, anxious, worry, fear, paranoid state. Is it going to work out? Am I going to get what I need? It just feels like a real settling in that Scorpio energy, in that water body of ours, our fixed water, very loyal, very committed, stubborn as well, right? Once it gets going, it keeps going, but it can struggle to instigate. It can also struggle to be mutable, right? Either cardinal or mutable. So fixed energy can struggle to, like, it goes along that train track and it's not able to veer off very easily. And so I really like that we've got that Venus energy influencing on the Friday, which is in a mutable sign. So our capacity to shift and change our direction and search for the light without denying the power of the void, of the chaos energy, of death, of decay, of the all of the things, or the ego, the shadow, all of those things. And I'm not saying they're specific to Scorpio, but that fixed water does tend to hold a lot of power there with those energies. So that trine with Saturn, trine's an aspect of Jupiter. It can bring in elevation, bring things together in order to elevate, brings in wisdom, expansion, a sense of knowing, and with that brings confidence, and that's where the generosity and joviality of Jupiter can come in. We also get opportunities and abundance come in with that flow, because it's both water energy, all flowing with each other. So that's the only aspect that the moon is making. So we've got to move over to Mars to see what else is going on in the chart. So Mars is ruling this moon, and so Mars, what's going on? Mars is opposite Pluto over in Capricorn, and they are both square Juno in Libra. Now, Mars opposite Pluto can bring about conflict and distortions around power, around motivation. We can get some fear come in around our actions and our deeds, a sense of manipulation, a sense of possessiveness, a sense of obsession with Pluto and Mars, butting heads with one another, or feeling very disconnected from your rooted power and your capacity to transform. If all of these sort of certain energies show up with this opposition in regards to this moon, just know that it is serving your longer term legacy. Interesting, lots of pentacles showing up. That Pluto energy is pretty loud, probably because I'm recording this with a Capricorn ascendant, right? So this is a city. Cities take forever to build. This is your legacy. We are building towards that. As I was saying, those difficult energies are all help to rebalance you. So you've got the nuclear family there. We also have the elder, who's covered in esoteric symbols. Now this represents the blending of the mundane and the metaphysical, right? The spiritual and the 3D world, right? And when we do that, when we bring that into harmony, right, bring that magic into our reality, into the 3D tangible world, that's when we're creating from balance. That's when we're creating for our legacy. Oh, I like it going on the Two of Pentacles in reverse, a real sense of we're moving away from the hamster wheel. So flip side with I didn't bring in Juno. So Juno's over in Libra. Juno represents commitment, your ride or die. She's in Libra. She's at the last degree. They are all at the same degree, 29 degrees of the cardinal energy. So again, instigating energy. Now it forms a T-square. And so we've got the Mars-Pluto opposition and then the square, 2 squares down to Juno. And the release of the T-square is the bottom of the T. And so that is Juno. And so on the difficult side of this, with the squares, right? Squares are ruled by Mars. This can bring in conflict, drama, frustration, winning at all costs. But so let's bring that into what I was saying, sort of more of the difficult energies of Pluto and Mars in opposition, squaring Juno, of a real sense of frustration around trying to find equilibrium with your inner truth and the way that you share that socially. Itiala Madina, the way that you connect to others. So there may be some real distorted power dynamics that come up over the next 6 months, right? And this is calling you to really center yourself and be aware of, why am I responding in the way that I'm responding, whether that's to whatever's going on or whether it's you acting, not acting out, but being caught up by the Pluto Mars opposition, because that Juno energy is really can see the frustration of finding balance or wanting to build for the long term, or Mars in Cancer being highly sensitive and just finding your actions aren't necessarily being recognized by other people. There isn't that level of commitment, and the power dynamics are getting really, really loud over what you want to do in the long term. Now, the most integrated and expansive energy with this, right? We've already got that 10 of Pentacles come out, which is showing that whatever's going on here is serving our long-term building, our long-term manifestation in the 3D world. Now, Mars opposite Pluto is a recalibration around conflict, around distorted power dynamics, and building together this capacity to be intuitively guided. I got the 3 of Cups there. I love that. It'd be intuitively guided through your actions and your deeds that serve your nourishment, serve your needs, that are in alignment with the deep transformation of how you build in the long term, with Pluto going on, and they are combining with a deeper level of, right? So we've got the 3 of Pentacles. So this is sort of 3 of Cups even. So this is a sense of flow, of abundance, of connection, of union, right? This can be union within your emotional body, of more celebration, more abundance, more just feeling really good about yourself. And combine that with Juno. So we've got Mars and Pluto opposite, and then Juno involved. as I said, like, rather than having hindrances around committing to your equilibrium, your sense of fairness, your sense of diplomacy, harmony, balance, connection with others, relationship dynamics, your ideas around them. Libra can have a lot of social anxiety. This is bringing in flow with that Juno commitment, of you instigating the capacity to be very intuitively aligned with the actions that serve your long-term building, your long-term transformation, and bring in a heightened level of co-creation and commitment, with balance and the truth of your soul in the way that you interact with other people. So that is really powerful stuff. And obviously, because Mars is ruling the moon, Mars is going to be influencing this with those aspects. Now, Mars is also making other aspects. Mars is trine Mercury, as I was already mentioned, in this 28 degrees of Scorpio, and they are both trine Neptune. Now, the grand water trines that we have been going through with the in the lead up to the Libra eclipse and following it, we had Venus, who was in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, Saturn, and that produced an alignment between our connection, our love, our desire, our ability to create, right? Venus is all about creation, so I'm not surprised we've got some big earth energy come in with that Three of Cups. I love that. It's a very harmonious energy in our emotional body, right? As I'm talking about the grand water trine. Oh my goodness, Queen of Pentacles as well. The capacity to really nourish abundance in our lives, sort of what I'm, just been talking about. And she gives really good advice. She's yin energy, so she's cultivating, she's planning, she's bringing depth and nuance to your 3D abundant experience. Isha, very fertile. So we had Venus, Mars and Saturn. That was our, as I say, our capacity to create, our desire combined with our motivation and drive, how we connect, in alignment with Saturn building those strong foundations in our water body. Then it moved to Mars, Venus, Neptune, and that was for the Aries full moon. And with that baseline of Saturn making things real, making structure internally that we will then see manifest when it starts going forwards, Neptune, as I said, pulling back the illusion in its retrograde nature that magic isn't real, that miracles aren't real, that every little moment is entirely sourced and entirely in alignment, and you are being held. You can trust what's going on. You can have, and that's a big thing. The word that's been coming up for me probably since the beginning of the year is trust. Right, and everything that we've been working through, all the astrology is allowing more space for us to slowly integrate a level of trust that we may not have ever had before in this lifetime. And so this combination with Mercury, Neptune and Mars is again that capacity to process, right? If we are imagining that we feel in our emotional body trust that we are being held by source, trust in the unfolding, then Mercury is able to see the another layer of truth, right? There is so much we don't know. The universe is so complicated. The structure of guides, souls, galactic council, aliens, all of those things, there are so many layers that we are not aware of. Mercury with Mars and Neptune is able to look further into the darkness, into the unknown. Ishala diala diali moitene motofiela. Ishala, that's with the Ace of Swords. Ishala diali moyela madishani motofiela. And so we're going to receive a lot of information, a lot of downloads. We're going to be able to perceive our reality with more clarity. And that is going to really infuse with the support of Mars over in Cancer, which is incredibly intuitive, very nurturing, but it's just that utter flow in your movements that are in alignment with your personal understanding of your emotional body, and you're intuitively guided. So we've got a very powerful water trine going on with a very powerful Scorpio water moon. Now what else is going on? Zufani mandieni ma we've got the Wheel of Fortune coming out. Is it wanting me to talk about Jupiter? So this is the Jupiter card. Now, even though Jupiter's not making an aspect to Mars, not making an aspect to the Sun and the Moon, it is opposite Venus and Pallas Athena, and it's currently retrograde. at the moment in the sign of Gemini, which has you reflecting and going back over all the things that you've been learning and growing with, and this sense of curiosity and play, and what does that mean to you, right? Jupiter retrograde can often mean you're not taking what everybody else says as fact, right? It leads to constant why, question, follow your own wisdom. And it's opposite Venus. And so there's a real balance between the universal truths that, you know, Sagittarius wants to take out into the world, and all the shifts and changes in the details, all the different ideas, not necessarily taking things too seriously, which allows for us to take in more perspectives of the Gemini energy, which is allowing our capacity, again, mutable, influencing this fixed energy of really being able to, with this new moon, which is obviously when we plant seeds, plant things in the unconscious space that then unfold over the next 6 months, our capacity to bring deep wisdom to the things that we love, right? To the things that we desire, to the things that we want to create, to the way that we connect with others. A real deep wisdom with that Jupiter energy that's allowing different perspectives to come through, right? You know, as I said, healing a lot of wounds from the ancestors. A lot of perspectives we think are our own have nothing to do with us. They do have things to do with us because we're all connected. We are all that is, right? But we also signed up for individual incarnation, right? So we're all here to try to pull back the layers of what isn't ours and work from our inherent frequency. So Jupiter opposite Venus and Pallas Athena is bringing that into alignment of our capacity to follow that fire, follow that light, and be able to shift and change when we need to, right? And bring in new perspectives, new ways of thinking that are going to serve our longer term goals. The Wheel of Fortune is all about big shifts in the outside world changing, right? It's come in the upright, so things are moving forwards. Again, this is our emotional body having deep healing that's allowing us to perceive that things are on the up, right? That fate is always in our favor, whether the wheel is down, up, or sideways. And it actually has all the fixed signs in it. It's allowing us to build so much earth. Now, it's calling me actually back to look at Uranus. Uranus is opposite Mercury, so that's going to be influencing the sun and moon as well. So this is sudden, unique ideas that have about blockages to our soul's path and our unique frequency, right? Because Uranus is retrograde. And Uranus is the path clearer, the breaker of chains. Uranus is very independent, very contrary, very sort of maverick in its nature. And opposite Mercury is our capacity to bring these into harmony, of really knowing what our body's telling us, right, Taurus? What our physical senses telling us. There's a lot of, as I said, a lot of removal of blockages in the physical body, in our personal connection to the earth, that Mercury's going to be able, in Scorpio, which, as I said at the beginning, very shamanic, the capacity to transmute that energy and help heal you, not only yourself but the society, right? Scorpio is a social sign. Which is probably why we've got all this pentacles of that deep clearing of the water is activating our freedom of movement to build in the 3D. But we have that we've got Pluto sextiling Neptune, Neptune sextiling Uranus, Uranus sextiling Mars. It's pretty wide for a sextile, but it's the degrees out, because often sextiles in a lot of astrology is a 3-degree orb. 29 degrees, 25 degrees is 4 degrees, and it's so close to 3 degrees that I see that as a sextile as well. And this is forming a cradle with Uranus trine Pluto, as well as being opposite Mercury over in Scorpio. So the Pluto Mars, Uranus Neptune, trine, sextile forms a cradle, which we are being rebirthed out of. Into this moon, into Juno. So a real strong commitment to balance and equilibrium right, in the Scorpio energy, in our water body, in the way that we are engaging with the world from that deep level of intensity and power. The very, the strategy orientated energy. So we are being rebirthed with all of this, and this is being influenced by through our motivations, our drives, and our actions. 10 of Swords in reverse as I say that, right? So 10 of Swords in the upright, we are clearing that out, right? Very karmic all along the spine. Ideas, words, spells, perceptions that have immobilized us, right? Mars can't really move around when he's stabbed in the back 10 times. Immobilized in this level of betrayal, right? That many of our ancestors may have felt, and that grudge is still lingering on. It's come out in reverse, right? So this removal of blockages around us are being able to move, right? That Mars energy, right, of our motivation and our drive. Being rebirthed and catapulted into this new moon and into Juno, because there's this level of commitment here, as I said, into that equilibrium, into the truth, into balance, into a sense of objectivity and empathy, because justice is the Libra card. How are we doing for time? Ooh, not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. What else is going on? I've nearly finished everything. So Mars is in Cancer. Right, we've done most of the aspects with Mars. I love the sextile with Uranus, right? Because that is a real sense of eureka moments through our actions and our deeds. And with the opposition to Mercury is also lots of eureka moments of what may have been hidden is now coming to light. So Mars rules this moon, but Mars is in Cancer. Who rules Cancer? Well, that is the moon itself. So like the Aries full moon, Mars and the moon, are the two ruling energies by energy transfer. So we've got they are what's called a mutual reception. They are in each other's realms. They are basically psychically connected at a deeper level. They're able to facilitate each other's journeys in the realms that they're in, right? So the moon is able to move with more ease in Scorpio and Mars in Cancer, because they are supporting one another in like, where's the salt? Say you're around a friend's house, you've never been there before, you're looking after it and you're trying to cook dinner and you're like, I've got no idea where anything is, right? This is basically as if your friend was in your mind telling you where everything was. So we have this water-based yin energy, right? The moon and Mars are both on the night team in terms of your natal chart, and they're in yin signs, so they're very happy. So we've got this real sense of what's going on in the darkness, what's been going on in the shadowy realm, this sense where they're both quite comfortable. And the moon and Mars in alignment with one another and supporting one another is really a deep connection to your emotional body, your intuition, whether your needs are being met, whether you're getting the nourishment that you need. Those are the moon's energies, and then Mars is the motivation, drive, and action to do those things, to facilitate the elevation of that. I'm getting a lot of energy release at my lower back, where the womb is, where the ovaries are, and obviously that translates to the male sex as well, in terms of that is your creation energy, it is your power with all of us. And so often we distort it with like only focusing on sort of copulation and that kind of thing. That's what we're hardwired to procreate, aren't we? It's one of our root energies, at least in some ways. But it's all about creation and finding, and everything that we do is creation, and finding the pleasure and the joy in it. That's the Venus energy. We've got the Magician and the Nine of Cups. So, the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is all about the dreamscape. It's all about thinking beyond your previous emotional pains and distortions. It follows the Six of Cups, where you've made peace with Greece. grief, and now we're open up to different possibilities. Our emotional body is healed enough so it has more space, more freedom to explore new things, and to really fantasize and dream bigger than we've ever dreamt before in our emotional body. And that's come with the magician as well, which is Mercury. And so this is our capacity to create with all the resources around us, right? The magician understands everything around it is a tool in order to manifest and create, right? As above, so below. And so this feels like this is kind of summing up what I've been talking about of through that healing. The new moon is activating this new fantastical energy in our emotional body, or letting us know that we are all, in fact, all magicians. So I've got a little bit left. I mean, obviously, this is also Halloween, day before, so there's lots of rituals around this. This is the midpoint. It's a cross-quarter fire festival. SAMHAIN is in between the autumn equinox, or the Libra equinox, and the Capricorn solstice, the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so it really marks a very consistent period of time, right? It happens in all the fixed signs. We've got Lamas, SAMHAIN, or am I going to get these around the right way? Beltane and Imbolc. Itialem, I think it's around the other way. Itialem Moduini. So there's an element of fire. It's a fire festival. So you might want to light a fire to the ancestors. Obviously, always be safe with fire. And there's lots of cleansing, clearing energy you can do, jumping over it, that kind of thing. Just going to have to pause for 1 second. And so in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the time when, everything is starting to get darker. All the leaves are falling off the trees. They're being composted. From the autumn equinox to the spring equinox, the night is getting longer than the day. And this is when we're supposed to slow down. We've activated the yin part of the year. And this is where we observe, we cultivate, we nurture, we really tend to everything that we've been outwardly actively doing from the spring equinox to the autumn equinox. And this is a real cultivation, a sense of rest and digest, right? Rather than being in the get up and go energy. There's a real need for that, and allowing us to slow down, allowing us to pause and recalibrate and tend to ourselves, right? So this is in the great darkness, right? The dark of the night, the womb of the night, the womb of the great mother, we are being rebirthed. And so too, I feel the spirits of the dead, right? The sense of reconnection, of recognition and celebration and renewal of their own journey as well. In the lead up to this moon, especially obviously All Hallows Eve, is a great time to do some cleansing work. I would bring in both fire and water with this one. The light and the water that creates life on this planet. Right, what else did I want to say? Oh, there's some cool other stuff going on with Venus. As I said, she is influencing this moon. It's got very Venusian qualities. She is trine Chiron. So again, releasing of a lot of wounds around the I am, right? The Aries experience, are around connection, around that kind of clannish energy, right? Of that. Why are we paranoid? Why is my individuality being impacted on by the social dynamics of Scorpio, right? And that can lead us too far into the darkness, whereas that Chiron is helping us break out into new territory. And with the trine with Venus and Pallas Athena, again, it's going to be wounds around love, desire, connection, creativity, harmony, and all of this. The deep wisdom of Pallas Athena is going to help quickly understand the wisdom behind all of that, where we're embodying a level of the master teacher, right? With this next 6 months. And I've got the Two of Cups. as I was talking about that Venus Chiron energy. And so the wounds around giving and receiving, reciprocity, the wounds around treating each other with respect, honor, and dignity. And that doesn't have to just be romantic. It can be in any form. We have the feminine, masculine, and spirit, and they are in union with one another. And we have the caduceus, which represents healing, as well as the kundalini energy. And so that energy that's coming through from Venus, Pallas Athena, and Chiron is leading us to more emotional stability within ourselves, respect of ourselves, which then means we're drawing towards us others who then match that. Ishali diala, diala, because Venus is sextiling Lilith, and I love Lilith. She's conjunct my North Node. Lilith is all, and even though this is Venus in Cancer, I relate this card to Lilith, right? Because Lilith wants to be treated as an equal in relationships with respect and with dignity, right? And will, if faced with hypocrisy or hierarchical systems that don't make any sense, she's going to go and have a chat about it. And if she's met with resistance and walls up and nonsense comebacks, she's like, okay, you do you, I'm off. I'm going to go live my best life. Very independent, but desiring this while still maintaining that independence. And she's sextiling Venus. A sextile is an aspect of Venus. It is all about creativity, love, connection, harmony. So we've got Venus with Pallas Athena, who's very sort of objective and long-term wisdom, combined with Lilith over in Venus's sign in Libra, of finding an equilibrium of this, like really stepping up for yourself, defending yourself, being proud of yourself, right? Honoring yourself. That's the big Scorpio energy with that, of really being able to know the truth of the situation and the truth of who you are and what you desire. So there's a real big mature shift into reciprocity, right? Into this sense of deepening that love space in the emotional body of Scorpio, right? And Scorpio is so loyal. It's such a beautiful energy. It's very, very powerful. And to have all of this Venusian energy dumped on top of it, this is going to be really activating a heightened level of our capacity to be brave, to be vulnerable, and move into these spaces. Right, that is all the astrology. Let's see what the final message for this new moon is all about for us. I will be doing an all 12 signs of video series where I break down the intention of this moon for all of the 12 signs. All of the 12 signs. And the 6 of Pentacles, the world. Ishali diala, diani moyala dinima. Iti and the High Priestess. Ishania. So, a rebalancing. Right, there's those scales in the material world beyond scarcity, to a point where we are more free within ourselves, right? We're clearing some of that energy. Where the world is opening up to us. Know thyself and the world will open up to you. This is also Saturn. So a level of maturity, and then that leads to a level of freedom. The High Priestess wanted to sneak in at the beginning. Sorry, High Priestess, for not putting you there first. And this is knowing, this is that faith I talked about, of truly knowing in your water body that you are drawing everything towards you that serves abundance and fertility. All right, it's essentially your higher self is operating your water energy. And this is also the moon's card, which I feel is leading to all this building energy. And then we have the 10 of Cups. This is where this inner equilibrium that we're going to be establishing over the next 6 months, we're going to start to see out in the world. That's the miracles. That's the miracles that I was talking about. Well, what a powerful message to end on. Cut the deck and got the King of Pentacles. So really, really, and the Empress and the Ace of Wands. Okay, they're wanting some quick cards out. 4 of Cups over and the what's being let go of. This is comparison. It's the Thief of Joy. Stagnant, fixed energy that is like, I'm not going to do anything about the fact that all of this is out of reach, right? So clearing away anything that's blocked our motivation. Ituf, that's had a power over us. Pluto's the ancestors. So any ancestors that have had a hardcore power over us, I feel big release with this happening just after Halloween. 3 of Wands, Sun in Aries, fellow Mars-ruled sign, moving into a new landscape, starting a new journey on the cliff, right? So we have the higher ground, confident in what the actions that we take in any given moment. We are always doing the best that we can, not worrying or planning about how it's going to unfold, but simply enjoying existing. Itu fala Diana. And the Nine of Cups wanted to come out with that underneath that, which is this real inner alignment of gratitude and abundance of existence, right? Feeling very confident, feeling in your emotional flow, and that's leading to that 10 of then seeing it come out in the other side. We have that Ace of Wands, the Empress, the King of Pentacles. So fire energy wanted to come through at the end, right? With that Venus energy with Chiron. You got 3 aces. Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Ace of Fire. Interestingly, not the Ace of Cups, but there we go. I feel like it's really laying in some really solid foundations and groundwork with that trine to Saturn that is going to see the arrival of the Ace of Cups. But what we're doing is more intense, heavier work that is allowing us to slowly integrate that Ace of Cups that will come forward. Ace of Wands, new motivation, drive, passion, instincts to create in the 3D world. Find that fertility, find that love, and build, build, build. They've both got the golden scepter, right? This is pure abundance in the 3D. I really love that building energy. I like it a lot. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Oh, just under an hour. Not too bad for me. Oh, what fun this was. I really enjoyed doing this. If this resonated, if you enjoyed looking at all these cards, do hit that like button, leave me an emoji, leave me a comment. It always makes me very happy when that happens. If you want a personal reading, my website is in the description box as well as everywhere else. I think by the time this comes out, the offer will be over. It may not be. There may be some couple of hours left. And while the sun is still in Libra, for every booking on the website, you will get double the amount of time for your booking, and you can book way in advance because there's a calendar. So, but if it's gone Libra season, I'm thinking of doing another offer, maybe the Taurus full moon. We'll see what happens. It'll come up on my community page or the shorts. Be good to yourselves, be good to those around you. Safe travels, and be well until we meet again.